Alright, today, even though we've talked about it before, we're going to be taking a look at order of operations and just starting to bring everything together that we've been talking about in this unit. Now I know quite a few of you are probably very familiar with this saying, but remember we can think about the order of operations with the acronym Pemdas, which is parentheses, exponents, and then multiply and divide from left to right, and then add and subtract from left to right. But with our parentheses, I want us to add in grouping symbols, because essentially parentheses seems pretty narrow and it actually should encompass any sort of grouping symbol that is there, which also includes the square roots that we've been working with. So now let's just take a look at a couple of pretty basic examples with what you might be familiar with so far. Now if it helps you, sometimes you could just put in Pemdas to take a look at to remind you as you're going through. So I like to go through and just say, alright, P parentheses are grouping symbols. In this first example, there aren't any of those. So then in this case, we just skip P and move on to E, which would be our exponents. So that means we look at our problem and we're going to replace it. Now I know some of you will probably do some of these problems in your head and then you won't write the work, but I'm going to encourage you to make sure you are always showing your work as you're going through, first for justification for what you're doing, and then secondly to also check that out. So we're going to take 2 times 4 and bring that down, plus 1, plus, and then I'm going to find 2 to the 4th. Now remember, 2 to the 4th does not mean 2 times 4. It actually means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which would be 16. Now we're going to do multiplication and division from left to right. So since we have multiplication first, I'm going to put that in. So it becomes 8 plus 1 plus 16. And now we just go ahead and add or subtract left to right. So 8 plus 1 is 9. 9 plus 16 is going to give us 25. So now you try out this next problem on your own. So pause the video, try it out, and then check your work. Okay, once again, there are no parentheses. So next thing I'm going to do is my exponent. So it becomes 24 minus 3 to the second power, which if it helps you, 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 plus 5. Now I'm just going to add or subtract left to right. Subtractions first, that's okay. We're just going to do that first. So 24 minus 9 is going to give us 15. Plus 1 plus 5, so 15 plus 1 is 16. 16 plus 5 would be 21. So now let's just look at another couple of examples. So once again, if it helps you, go ahead and put Pemdas on your paper. Okay, so here, no parentheses again, so we're going to go ahead and do our exponents. So it becomes 6 times 8 divided by 2 to the second power, which is 4. Now multiplication and division from left to right. So 6 times 8 comes first, which is 48, divided by 4. And then 48 divided by 4 is going to be 12. Once again, go ahead and pause the video and try the next one on your own. Alright, so here we're going to do 7 to the second power first, which is going to be 49, minus 32 divided by 4. 32 divided by 4 is 8. So now we have 49 minus 8, which gives us an answer of 41. Now we're going to actually take some time and start working with those square root symbols. You're not necessarily going to see them a lot at this point, but it's going to help you as we build into our knowledge for algebra for next year. So on our first one, remember if we write out PEMDAS, that P really means any sort of grouping symbol. So grouping symbol would be equivalent to absolute value, square roots, anything like that. So on this one, we're actually going to do that square root of 9 first, which becomes 3. So it becomes 3 times 4 minus 7 plus 5. Now I'm going to do my multiplication. So it becomes 12 minus 7 plus 5. Now left to right, 12 minus 7 is 5, plus 5 is 10. Now why don't you go ahead and try the next one on your own and see how you do. Pause the video and then check it out. Okay, on this one we actually have to simplify what's underneath the square root symbol first. So this becomes 3 times the square root, 25 plus 11 would be 36. So I'm going to take the square root of 36, which is going to be 6. So 3 times 6 is going to give us 18. And then 18 minus 13 is going to be 5. Plus 2 will give us 7. Alright, last two. So why don't you go ahead once again and just pause the video, try these ones out. It's just kind of a final check before you get started on your homework for today. Alright, so once again, just as a reminder, I'm going to write Pemdas. If you remember it, you don't have to do this, but I just think it's a good reminder to really focus on it. Once again, no grouping symbols. So now we're going to skip right to exponents. So this becomes 4 times 8 plus 12 times 6 divided by 9. Because I simplified that 3 to the second power. 4 times 8 is 32. Now I'm going to show you something. Because we're going left to right and we're separated by this addition sign, I can actually do my multiplication at the same time. So then 12 times 6 is going to be 72 divided by 9. Now I'm going to go through, still working left to right, but that division has to come first. So now it's going to be 72 divided by 9, which gives us 8. And then 32 plus 8 gives us 40. On the next one, we do 8 to the second, which would be 64. Plus, now because they're separated by that addition sign, I can actually go ahead and do my 32 divided by 4 because they're not directly affecting one another because of the addition sign. This becomes 8. And then 64 plus 8 is going to give us 72. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, you can go ahead and get right started on your homework.